Greetings viewers, it is I, Random Internet Stranger, and I have Deltarune predictions. I don't just have predictions, I have, actually, Mike the board please. I have a bingo board of my predictions. This probably isn't an unusual thing to have prepared for the new chapter if you're a freak like me. I have carefully placed each theory as to hopefully be strategic about it. When Toby releases the new chapter, you can play along with me. Or you can make your own, and feel free to steal my ideas. I encourage it, in fact. The point of laying them out on a bingo board and as predictions rather than theories is to make it so that each one could hopefully stand on its own. You can pick and choose which ones you want to believe and take with you into the future of gaming. Deltarune gaming. That's right, you are a Deltarune gamer. Why else would you be here? Now, get that board out of here. I have an order that was intended to be specific but ended up being arbitrary as I was writing the script I'd like to propose these predictions to you in. So let's get started with that. Quick disclaimer, most of these are not actual theories, so they might not have real evidence behind them, though I will explain why I think they're gonna happen. And just so you know, as I'm writing the script, I'm not taking into account any perspectives of people who are not as obsessed with this game as I. So if you're not that, you might not understand everything. Or anything. The order I'm attempting to go in is about how serious they are, which only vaguely matches the order I ended up going in. Anyway, number 1. Starting with a 10 out of 10, Lancer gets a new song. This one, I guess, could be described as a theory. I have real and irrefutable evidence towards this. In Chapter 1, we got 3 songs for Lancer. His battle theme, his main theme, and the Thrash Machine song. In Chapter 2, we got the Acid Tunnel of Love, which, despite not having anything to do with Lancer, has his theme in the song. In Chapter 3, we got Dig Dig to the Center of the Earth. And in Chapter 4, this is actually the one that is the biggest evidence. We have this one. This one is the biggest piece of evidence because why is it in the game? If this wasn't a pattern that Toby was intentionally following, why would this song be in the game at all? You first hear it upon reloading your completed Chapter 4 save, which is in a very serious part of the chapter, not to mention that the entire chapter itself is a lot more serious than the previous ones. A Lancer theme has no good reason to be here, but it is, and I'm getting off track. You get the point. Next prediction. Rouxls gets a new hat. I'm a tiny bit less confident in this one than the Lancer one because Rouxls doesn't appear in Chapter 4, but one of the later predictions could work with this one, so maybe it's perfect and awesome. The prediction is on the basis that in Chapter 1 he has no hat, in Chapter 2 he has a pirate hat, which makes sense, and in Chapter 3 he has a chef hat, which doesn't really make sense for him to be wearing, but whatever. I guess I could rephrase this to instead say head appearance because I would count him shaving his head in the same... Wait, I just realized as I was writing this, Rouxls does appear in Chapter 4, and he does get a new hat in that chapter. He gets the lampshade. Alright, well this is a pattern that has to continue now, just as much as the Lancer one. My bet is on cowboy hat in Chapter 5, which is just a small guess and not an official prediction. Number 3. Asgore wears some kind of mask and/or is a superhero. So I'm pretty sure we've all agreed that we're gonna find a Dark World in the Flower King in Chapter 5. Whether it's the entire chapter or not, we'll see. But along with this, we know for almost certain that Asgore is going to be the main antagonist of Chapter 5 because of the file names of these prophecy panels. So what I'm suggesting is... Well, hold on. First I've got to say that this prediction is kinda 2 in 1, because either one of these can be true without the other, but I think they're both gonna happen. The mask part, there has been a strange pattern with the main antagonists of the chapters. We haven't seen their eyes ever. Kings are shrouded in shadow, queens are covered by her visor, and we are not counting the @ eye thing she does. Tenna straight up doesn't have eyes, and neither the Knight or the Titan have eyes either, but it's for more normal reasons than Tenna. Basically, if Asgore is the main antagonist of Chapter 5, we're not going to be able to see his eyes. Now, we do already know that Asgore can do the shrouded in shadow thing that King does, but when Asgore did it, it was only in a shameful and heavy situation, so I don't think he could keep that up for an entire Dark World. So, he needs a mask, and what better mask than a superhero mask? We know that there are superhero comics in Asgore's room, and his personality and supposed motivations could easily be molded into making him a cool and awesome superhero. Anyway, this one has gone on for long enough. Next we have a Papyrus theory. This one is definitely a theory, though it's not mine. So there's this theory I saw that said Papyrus was the warrior who appears in Icy's Pezza. I'm not going to go into actual detail because I don't feel like it, but I'll link the Reddit post in the description. Please read it, it is actually perfect. No, my prediction is that it will be revealed in Chapter 5. I think the theory itself is straight up guaranteed. It could easily happen later, but the more it is put off, the less we get to see Papyrus. And I know that even Toby doesn't want this. We keep getting Papyrus Q&As in the newsletters because Toby misses Papyrus. He can't bear to not give us more Papyrus content. This next one is really obvious actually, but it could possibly not happen even though there's no way Toby wouldn't do it. The 7 flowers encased in glass will reflect the human souls in some way. Whether that is personality or just also being of actual value in the Dark World and contained like the souls were. Maybe they're big robot things that we need to bring the flowers to bring them to life because they act as souls in the Dark World. That would be cool. That's not specifically part of the prediction though. I have no idea. The 7 Chaos Flowers from hit game Hedge the Sonic Hog. So, on the track of flowers, how about someone who references Flowey from Undertale? I mean, I'm pretty sure Ralsei already does do this, but a slightly more direct reference is in order. Especially in a Flower King Dark World, or like Azrael arrives back at home and says something about flowers. This one is vague, I guess. Yeah, I think I've got to narrow it down to something happening in the Dark World to reference Flowey. This one is a 9.125 out of 10. I'm quite confident something like this will happen. I'm not confident I'll actually pick up on it on my first time playing, but I'm sure whatever interaction does it will appear in someone's theory video. Halfway escaping from flowers for just a moment, this is an interesting idea. There will be a song called Synthesis in Chapter 5. We already know for almost certain that there will be one called Festival. We know this because of a video I haven't actually watched, but I think I get the idea of Bibliox theory, where their proofread act words are the names of songs that have and will appear in the game. What I'm saying is that the song called Synthesis appears in Chapter 5 specifically, having to do with photosynthesis maybe? This one is fine, it could easily appear in a later chapter, but I think 5 would be cool. Still on the music thing here, actually still with the names of songs thing here, I think the name of a song in Chapter 5 will have a direct reference to either Heartache or Bergentrucking. The name, not just like the Heartache motif appearing in one of the Asgore songs, but I do think that's totally gonna happen. I mean, there's gonna be a song called Headache related to Asgore or something, or Bergentrucking 2. Okay, back to flowers. This one is one that I haven't seen a whole lot of talk about. I think it will be revealed that plants have some strange interaction with being brought to life by a dark fountain, perhaps due to being already alive technically. We actually see what I assume is an example of this with the cactus in Chris's house in the S-rank room. Maybe it'll also have a reference to my photosynthesis point. That can't happen without sunlight, which can't appear in a dark world. Yeah, photosynthesis without the sun, in actual etymology or whatever, is just synthesis. The word synthesis, processing, of photo, light. No light, no photo. I think this with the 7.375 out of 10 certainty that this will either be a direct plot point or brought up in an important way. If this does end up being true, what does that mean for the main plot of the game? Or perhaps the man behind the tree? The Shadow Crystals. I have a couple theories about who the boss is going to be, but here's my broadest and most probably correct idea. It is going to be a plot which revolves around Ralsei, just like how the Mantle game and the Knight were Chris and Gerson was Susie. We're going to get a scarf for Ralsei that allows Ralsei to not be a full wimp when fighting. I have a lot more thoughts about the Shadow Crystal boss in a moment. That's actually a significant part of the video. It could be Noelle focused instead, since Weird Route stuff implies we're going to get access to her again in Chapter 5, and that she's going to be important, but I really want Ralsei stuff, and there's still the Ralsei getting mixed up with flowers thing. The prediction itself, is Ralsei-centric. I'd put a different one for Noelle-centric, but I don't think that's going to happen. Feel free to put it on your own bingo board though. I genuinely can't wait to be proven wrong. Not about this next prediction though. Okay, I kinda hyped up this prediction because it's awesome. Speaking of Ralsei, here's a fun one. I mean, it can be serious, but I don't think it's gonna be a super serious event if it does happen. A lot of people are saying this, and I agree wholeheartedly. Ralsei is transgender. I know I've watched at least one actual theorizing video about this. There is real evidence. And don't say something like Toby wouldn't do that. You know full well he absolutely would. Alphys is canonically bisexual and in a lesbian relationship in Undertale. And Mettaton is one of 3 characters who is also transgender, the others being Mad Mew Mew and the Lion Waitress. In the second Sanctuary, you can literally color pick the trans pride flag from Ralsei's sprite. That must at least mean that Susie thinks Ralsei is trans. There's also the blue dress that indicates trans that Ralsei says is cute. There's the 3 ribbon colors that you can get that are pink, blue, and white, and there's the princess ribbon. Ralsei, listen to me. You want to change the prophecy, right? Simple solution. Don't be the prince alone in deepest dark. It's easy. You're already not alone. You've got Susie and Chris. Become the princess. I know you can. Ralsei isn't gonna stop and say, guys, I want to be referred to with she, her pronouns from now on. But it is gonna happen. Imagine Susie said the whole me to Ralsei mini rant instead. 9.999 out of 10. And on top of that, if that were to actually happen, it would have to be an important plot point that can't be skipped unless maybe you're on the weird route, but that's a different prediction. And what else do we think is going to be a Ralsei-focused plot point? That's right, the Shadow Crystal boss. I think that the Shadow Crystal boss is going to be a mandatory encounter in Chapter 5. I had to stop for a second. This was also in a theory video I saw a while ago and can't remember the name of. I'm pretty sure like most of these are actual other theory videos that I can't remember properly, so go watch more theories. Anyways, the Shadow Crystal boss of Chapter 5, a mandatory encounter. Why would that happen? Well, first let's take a look at the weird route. No, not the normal weird route, the Chapter 3 S-Rank games. They serve as the tutorial to the Forbidden Path. It's a way of hinting to players that aren't obsessed like us that the weird route is a thing that exists. I think a similar thing is going to happen in Chapter 5. We're going to be forced to complete a fight that rewards us with a Shadow Crystal, and at the end we're going to go back to Sham, and Sham is going to say something along the lines of, "Oh, you found a Shadow Crystal! That's quite the curiosity. It would be much more useful with the other 4 Shadow Crystals. Oh well. Seems you're too late to get them now. Ever wonder about what could have been?" And the player's gonna be like, "Oh, I must have missed the other 4 in the previous chapters," and go back to find them. Might also explain why the Shadow Crystals and the secret boss items appear to the left of Castletown in every save file. If I remember correctly, Sham says something about Chapter 5's Shadow Crystal being the last one needed, which is why Chapter 5 is gonna have the mandatory Shadow Crystal boss and not some later one. A mandatory Shadow Crystal boss, 8.25 out of 10. And one more thing that could possibly be tied to the Shadow Crystal boss, I think Ralsei will be forced to learn some kind of offensive magic spell, just like how Susie is learning healing magic. It'll almost certainly have something to do with fire, and most likely Dreamer-style fire magic, and again, similar to Susie, a Ralsei-centric Shadow Crystal boss could help him practice it, or at least be the thing that forces him to learn it. Learning a whole new spell would probably also have to make it a mandatory thing too. Now, this is my favorite theory. It is great, and it is one I have thought of entirely myself, and it is perfect. This could be its own entire video, and for that reason I have decided to make this the halfway point special section, where it is exactly the same but I'm explaining a thing for slightly longer than usual. I mean, I'm hijacking my own video to give you an insane actual theory that I've thought of, which is probably also going to be the thumbnail of the video when I get around to making that. Which would mean you already know what I'm going to say, but I'm going to hype it up anyways. Alright, are you ready for my absolutely insane idea that I am 100% confident in? Are you ready to hear a sentence that you will think is insane immediately? You are? Well, of course you are. You're just as obsessed with this game as I am. Okay, no more stalling. You're ready. Papyrus is the Shadow Crystal boss of Chapter 5. Oh, hey, yeah, that sounds exactly as insane as I thought it would. I have evidence, and I have words that will convince you to go from, oh, that can't possibly happen, to, huh, maybe that will happen. Like right now, I assume you're at 0% confidence that it will happen, but I'm gonna bring you to at least like 50%. Okay. So we are assuming that the Shadow Crystal boss is gonna be Ralsei-centric, right? Who better of a role model to Ralsei than Papyrus? Papyrus could teach Ralsei that being yourself isn't gonna hurt your friends, or even make your friends like you any less. Papyrus says you can be your true self and also a good person. Papyrus says that if you want to break the prophecy, then he believes in you. A Lightner believes in you, Ralsei. Papyrus, as a character, very obviously embodies these ideas. And if Ralsei is being forced to learn an attack spell, well, it would be a really interesting contrast to Undertale Papyrus, where instead he's telling Ralsei to show me what you've got. Grow a spine. Nyahaha. While Ralsei is reluctantly fighting a Lightner. Or, well, bones are fire resistant. Plants aren't. Perhaps Papyrus has a friend inside him. Maybe a plant of some kind is controlling him, the actual one who is in possession of the Shadow Crystal, bringing up more puppet imagery. Asgore wants his puppet cowboy show back. Let's give it to him. Here's the perfect cowboy. That part was just weird speculation and fanfiction, I guess. Disregarded immediately. Toby said he was giving us fights, specifically with the Shadow Crystal bosses, that he wishes he could have given us in Undertale, like Mettaton Neo with Spamton Neo, and Gerson with Gerson. Well, I want to see Papyrus' special attack. Maybe I want to see Papyrus actually fighting to kill and not just capture. He is supposedly really powerful, let us see it. As well as that, how about a blue soul boss? We already got a mandatory green soul fight in the Chapter 4 with the Sound of Justice, so a mandatory blue soul fight that is also the Shadow Crystal boss? Sounds slightly more reasonable. With the 10th anniversary stream, we got even more vague clues that the Skeleton Brothers have some connection to Gaster, and we think the Shadow Crystals have something to do with Gaster, right? Now, here is something that could probably be considered actual evidence. This is a separate theory, technically. Well, it was a separate theory. It's been pretty much fully confirmed now. I'll explain it from its beginning. Undertale has 6 sections in a usual playthrough. 7 if you count the True Lab, but that's a weird exception to this. In order, these are Ruins, Snowdin, Waterfall, Hotland, Core, and New Home. Right now, Deltarune has 4 chapters that resemble these areas if you squint. But not in the Undertale order. No, they're in backwards order. Chapter 1, the weakest link, to be completely fair, is New Home. Chapter 2 is Core, which does work well. Chapter 3 is Hotland, which works really well with Tenna as basically Mettaton 2. And finally, Chapter 4 is Waterfall, a slightly more dark section that has rooms where you navigate in darkness, important bits of lore and some allusions to crystals, and Gerson Boom. Chapter 4 is obviously one of the best examples of the pattern here. Anyways, that must mean that Chapter 5 is Snowdin. Obviously. Now, in Snowdin, there are 2 interesting characters that appear. The first, you know him, you love him, it's Papyrus. Exactly the person who supports this weird theory hijacking segment. But normally when describing 2 interesting characters who appear in Snowdin, you'd expect Papyrus to be the second name mentioned, last but not least in all that. The other interesting person, it's not Sans. I do not care about Sans. He will have plot relevance later, but not in Chapter 5. The interesting person is QC. Do you even recognize that name? Of course you do, but maybe some people don't. It's not like Sans or Papyrus. QC is interesting, the purple shopkeeper bunny of Snowdin. Importantly, her name appears in the list of names that Gaster reacts to in the Goner Maker sequence when typing in your name. You're watching this obsessed lunatic's Deltarune prediction video, you better know what that means. As well as that, she appears in the recent newsletter. Just appears, not really much to say about it. I don't even know why I brought this up. I have nothing I could possibly theorize about her. Wait, QC is the roaring nut. Back to the Papyrus thing, I need to pause before this next part. It's gonna be even more insane to bring up as a point towards this theory. Okay, pause over. Skeletons are literally friends inside you. Now that sounds crazy, obviously, but hold on. Consider the following related phrase that regards this connection that I didn't come up with myself, but instead found under the comments section of a pretty good Papyrus fan song. Spaghetti Western. Papyrus Cowboy Shadow Crystal Fight. This is a flower-themed Dark World, so what does that have to do with Papyrus? Well, Papyrus has had some kind of interactions with Flowey and Undertale. That's something, I suppose. More importantly, the floral cowboy bath curtain that Tenna mentions. If done correctly, which would be easy to do story-wise, this doesn't conflict with the Papyrus warrior theory. It could actually be the way it's revealed. We close the dark fountain and wake up with Papyrus in the warrior outfit without the mask. And when he leaves, he puts it on and walks out. It would be cute. And then horrible because he has a visage of Icy on his face. And last, my favorite part of this theory. A Lightner truly believes in Ralsei. A Lightner. Ralsei, he's giving you something. It's a piece of red fabric. It's a scarf. It's Papyrus's scarf. That was cool, I think. I'm rating that one happy out of smiles. The Papyrus hijacking is over. I really hope I didn't lose any viewers during that part specifically, because I'm right, and I don't want people to not have heard me speak the objective truth. We are going to get back to a regularly programmed prediction bingo board. Oh wait, the bingo board. Papyrus Shadow Crystal Boss, right there. No, hold on, let me do something. Let's get back to the predictions. We need to get more serious, I think. Back in Castletown, we're going to be able to use our newly acquired climbing claws to go back to the cliffs area that we started the Chapter 1 Dark World in, and we're going to find strange secrets. I don't know what that actually means. Also, we're going faster because that's the end of this prediction. Not too confident in it, but it would be cool. An actual serious one that is very reasonable and normal. How about when we start Chapter 5, we're gonna be already sleeping in Flower King. I don't mean the Dark World, I mean Chris is going to have been sleeping at Asgore's place to avoid the Toriel and Sand situation. This one I think is 7.5 out of 10. Like, maybe. It would probably work well and communicate more about how Chris feels about the situation and their parents. And with random speculation, I think we will also find Susie curled up like a cat, snoring loudly in the back of Asgore's truck. That's not part of the prediction, I just think it'd be funny. Now, hold on, I mentioned in my crackpot papyrus theory that plants are not good at dealing with fire usually, and dreamer magic manifests as fire. I need to point out some actual evidence for the theory I'm about to propose. Undyne, in the Dark Worlds, supposedly unfamiliar with Dark Worlds, can use her glowing blue spears as her magic manifested in Undertale. It becomes obvious that a dreamer would be able to manifest their magic as their fire from Undertale. Of course, that's not my theory. My theory is that the garden charred in an inferno of jealousy is referring to an actual fire that happens in the Flower King. A fire that starts as fire magic in the Dark World. It's also shown that Ralsei can use Dreamer-style fire magic with the Light Up Act in Chapter 4. Do with that what you will. I referenced the Hammer of Justice line there. Let's go back to that. Kinda. The Field of Pink and Gold. It's implying that whatever the pink and yellow actually means is going to be more present here than anywhere else. I don't really believe this will happen, but we've been having something like this hyped up for us for a while, so how about a direct friend encounter, in the flesh, not just as summons in a boss fight. Smiles in the shadows or representations of darkness in weird full-screen cutscenes. No, I want to see this friend creature for real this time. And I think the further we go onward, the more likely it becomes. Only so many more chapters you can hide in, buddy. The main reason I don't like this theory much is that Friend seems extremely tied to Noelle specifically. Its colors following her around everywhere she goes, and I don't really want Noelle's part in the chapter to overshadow other characters in it like Asgore or Ralsei. Some people think the roaring is going to start in Chapter 5. I think, yeah, maybe, it could work. The actual timeline for what I think is going to happen is that we're going to have the Flower King Dark World and a large Light World section for Festival Night. And yes, the festival is Chapter 5. Chris and Susie haven't genuinely slept for a while now. I mean, they go to sleep at the end of Chapter 2, but have a rough and definitely not restful night. Chris will have slept in until like 2 p.m. or something. Whatever happens at the festival after that is probably not predictable. The roaring starting... well, a festival would be a great place for that to happen, based on our extremely limited knowledge of what the roaring is. But if it were to happen, it would be a signifier of the end of the chapter. We're not going to deal with the entire roaring in Chapter 5. It might start, but it's not going to be a big section. That's for Chapter 6. Roaring starts and moments later, credits roll. Now, this next one could work hand in hand with the roaring starting. In fact, I'm going to group them together when explaining the random thoughts about this one. It's another common belief that Rudy is going to die, obviously, but I think he dies at the festival. I have another strange timeline for this one. Noelle somehow finds out that the Dark Worlds weren't actually a dream, and specifically finds out that they can bring people back to life. She already knows how to open one, thanks to Queen. Rudy gets up and goes to the festival he promised he would. He goes to the festival and fades into dust. He dies with people watching. Not just this, but Noelle, in desperation, opens a dark fountain, with people watching. Outside, under the night sky, this is how the roaring starts. Well, I haven't really gone in the order I was intending to, and kinda have just arbitrarily picked theories that were maybe related to each other. There are 4 left on my list. We'll finish them quickly. Enemy uses Death/Scythe elemental pair. Maybe. Sure, no reason not to. In fact, a scythe would make perfect sense to appear in the gardening Dark World. Maybe for harvesting some wheat, and... oh, that's what I was forgetting. The Forgotten Man. On Sunday, I harvest the wheat. Hold your breath, head to the left, and count backwards to 100. I wrote it down. Well, I have an insane theory about this one, perhaps even more insane than my entire Papyrus section of this video, but it's quite complicated. To begin, we know that the Eggman is not above complicated and obscure methods. He's not above giving you extremely limited visual input, and is notably not above using the soul's movement in menus to bring you places. Well, I have no more evidence for the following proposal. In the Shadow Crystal boss fight, during the attack that takes control of the entire screen, the soul will be able to go to the left, to the edge of the screen, and keep going. After not too much time, something will happen. This is how we will find the final egg. I'm not confident in it at all, but I thought of it and it was interesting enough to include. Oh, I said faster, didn't I? Well, at least the next 2 are actually related. I'll start with the stupid one. So I was wrong about Papyrus being the Shadow Crystal boss. Who is it then? It's none other than Rouxls' card. Yeah, the stupid theory, like I said. But it's pretty interesting. The way Rouxls has acted and been returning in Dark Worlds repeatedly is strange. His character arc could be completed in a more real way than just, we beat him, now he's gonna come back in the next chapter and do the same thing again. No, he needs some kind of actual character growth. That's why he's being kept around. On top of that, we keep almost seeing his personal attacks, which he hasn't used once. And in Chapter 2, he was visually charging up in a similar way to how the Roaring Knight does before, well, roaring. We have got to see what the Rouxls card can do. Maybe the lines on his chest can be the lines for a purple soul mode, or the platforms for a blue soul mode, or the something else for a something else yet to be seen soul mode. Rouxls would absolutely betray the Fun Gang for whatever a Shadow Crystal has to offer, if he just had the confidence in his own abilities, which we see are very obviously powerful by the Chapter 3 fight only allowing you to act. Maybe he would be a true challenge of a foe. Maybe he can force Ralsei to fight. Related to the Shadow Crystals, we know that Chapter 5 is going to be the final Shadow Crystal before Sham can do something big, but of course, there's no way we're going to be able to finish this without some kind of Sham battle, right? Maybe it's in good spirits, maybe the human soul is the last piece of whatever they're trying to make. Whatever happens, it's going to be fun. Also, the Sham fight theme is Megalovania. The final prediction. Actually, it seems the only one directly pertaining to the weird route. This one is strange. It's weird, yeah, I know. So to begin, the spammed and sweepstakes site ARG thing is still not fully explained. The page with the numbers has been generally associated with the weird route, and the idea is that the size of each number has to do with the amount of content there is that has to do with it. There is no 6 or 7. In Chapter 2, when we do the weird route, upon seeing Birdly, Noelle assumes that he is another enemy, blinded by what it is we, the player, are doing to her. On the weird route, Noelle will kill the Roaring Knight, or at least put it in the same state as Birdly is in now. It's enhanced further if Des is the Knight. Of course, Noelle might recognize the Knight as Des on the normal route, but right now it's just a boss enemy, the final enemy of the game. Noelle kills the Knight by our command, and then what? That was the main antagonist of the story. The story can't progress further without them. No Dark Worlds to seal means no more new chapters, no new game, and well, the game ends. You win. This could be breaking the prophecy, or more likely, this turn of events is another way to interpret the final tragedy that we don't get to see. On top of that, if Rudy's death causes Noelle to start the roaring at the end, which would be the driving plot force of the next chapter, maybe Noelle just wouldn't make that next Dark Fountain on the Weird Route. There's something more important than reaching the end, Toby said. Well, we got to the end, and between that and the beginning... Anyways, I'd love to hear how stupid you think I am for all this, because I think it's stupid, but in an awesome way. Here's the final bingo board, and in the description there will be a link to an actual PNG of it for you to do whatever the heck you want with. Maybe by the time the chapter comes out, I will have actually gotten into streaming as I've wanted to do, and I'll be able to fill the bingo card out live on stream. Who knows? Please comment. I want to hear all of your thoughts. Also, liking and commenting helps the video get seen by more people, and that's good because I want to hear all of your thoughts. Not really because I want to become more popular or whatever. You don't have to subscribe. I don't plan on making more Deltarune theory content unless this gets super insanely popular somehow, but again, it would help it get seen by more people. Kinda unrelatedly, I'm working on a project where I replace every single sprite, sound, song, and line of readable text in Deltarune. So if you have any random ideas for that, please comment and include a name/word you want to put in the credits if I end up stealing your idea. If some kind of insane lore appears in one of the newsletters that makes me rethink my bingo card, I'll make a follow-up video about it and update the bingo card accordingly. But it's probably going to be short and not really of any substance, so I don't think anyone would actually care about that hypothetical video unless it was already out when watching this video and only one click away. I'll structure it accordingly. Speaking of newsletters... QC, what the heck are you doing in the newsletter? Why do you appear in the list of names Gas reacts to in the Gar Maker sequence? I'm on you, I swear, something has gotta be going on. I hope you liked the video. If you didn't, then you lose, because if you're hearing this now, that means I got the video retention time, loser. Upon the first draft of this script, I was going to meow 16 times to bring the word count of the whole script to an even 5,000. Now, it is an uneven 6,352 words. I will now meow 16 times anyway. Meow 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 meow.